I've literally been waiting to film this video forever, and I'm actually so excited. Welcome to today's video. My name is Reagan, and today we are filming Book Besties Choose What I Read for a Week. I'm a little bit disappointed so far. Her taste in books is like my taste in books. Okay. I had 3, maybe 4 Book Besties choose what I'm going to read this week, and I sent them a little picture of my TBR card, and I was like, hey, can you choose a book for me to read? And they said yes. So let's go through each book and I'll tell you who picked what. I'll put up obviously their channels on the video screen for you, and also I'll link them down below because obviously you should go check out their channels. Amazing. So first we're going to start with my friend Ashley. I DM'd Ashley and I was like, hey, can you choose a book? And she told me to read Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. She said it's super fast paced and such a fun mystery, and it's a really good summerween vibe, which is what I'm looking for because low-key I'm over summer. I'm so over it. I want it to be fall already. It's literally like 90 degrees outside today. North Carolina does not play about the heat and humidity. We just have to go for summerween for now. This has been on my TBR since January. I bought it in January for a video, never completed it. I was gonna read it for this video. I'll put it up on the screen as well, and I never ended up getting to it, but we're gonna read it in this video today. That's what Ashley chose. Then we have Alexia. This is another book girly that I've met on the internet, and she responded back telling me that she hadn't read any of the books that I had on my TBR card, but she really loves Frederick Bachman as an author, and I did have one Frederick Bachman on my TBR shelf. So we're reading My Friends by Frederick Bachman. This is actually a book that I was supposed to read in that same video as Not Quite Dead Yet, but I didn't actually end up reading it because this book scares the shit out of me. But we will be finishing it today in this video, and I don't like to cry. And I don't often cry at books, actually. I very rarely cry. When a book can make me cry, that is quite something. And sometimes it deters from my reading experience because I'm like, I don't like to cry. And that's like definitely a problem I should work on in therapy, but I don't know. So I'm scared this book's gonna make me cry. I've never read a Frederick Bachman book before, and I've heard a lot of good things. A lot of people love Frederick Bachman, so I'm a little terrified, very excited. We're gonna read it this week. I'm so excited and also scared. Okay. Then I texted my bestie Leah, and Leah is someone that I know in real life, and she chose a book actually that she'd never heard of, which I thought was a good approach because I've also never heard of this book either. I've only ever just like went to the bookstore and bought it, which is kind of what I did. I've literally never heard anyone talk about this online, but that is Fallen Gods by Rachel Van Dyken. I'm so excited to read this one because again, I've never heard anyone talk about it. The blurb is what really got me when I was looking at it in the bookstore. I'll read it to you. Ready? They said the gods were myth, that the giants were the only stories told around dying fires. They lied. The gods aren't dead, they're only sleeping, locked in mortal bodies, scattered across the world, waiting for the right spark to wake them. And my father is the most ruthless of them all. He raised me to obey, to bleed, to be his blade when the time came. Now he's sending me to India University, a place filled with ancient bloodlines and deadly secrets, to steal back a name that I'm going to type on the screen, but I don't know how to pronounce. The Hammer of Legend. If I fail, everyone I love dies. But Eric Erickson, weird name, but okay, wasn't part of the plan. He's the enemy heir, distant, dangerous, and the one person I can't afford to fall for. He's closed himself off completely behind a wall of ice, but the more I'm ordered to unravel him, the harder it becomes to remember where lies end and I begin. There's only a mission I never chose and a man I was never meant to love, standing between me and a war that will decide the fate of the world. But if I'm the spark, maybe he's the fuse, and the gods, they're about to wake up angry. Does that not sound really good? Does that not sound amazing? Like, I actually love that blurb, and every time I read it, I'm like, can't wait to get to that one, which is great because I'm actually going to get to it today in this video. And also, stunning book. Let me show you. So it sounds that maybe this is based on Norse mythology, if I had to guess. And also, I did a little research into Rachel Van Dyken before I picked this book up. She's previously written, I think, only romance. Yeah, so she's written adult mafia, adult supernatural, adult romantic comedy, adult sports romance, and she's never written, as far as I know, a fantasy romance. So I'm really excited to see how this comes to life, and I'm also excited to see how the fantasy element compares to the romance, because I'm sure she's got the romance down. But I want to see how the fantasy and the romance interact together. And I think this is part of a series, or I'm assuming, but the first book is the only book out. So the secret fourth book girly that I asked, this was a complete shot in the dark because I sent this pretty last minute and I was like, there's no way she's going to answer. 3 books is probably enough for this video anyways, but we're just going to see. And she answered, and that would be my favorite booktuber literally ever right now. And that is Laura Reeds. Her taste in books is like my taste in books. I love fantasy. I love monster romance. I love paranormal romance. I love dark romance, like all the things that she likes, I love. So I was really excited to see her recommendation. And I should have guessed this. What other book would she choose for me to read than When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker? Of course. Of course, I can't believe I didn't think of this. But I actually am like still starstruck that she answered. And I'm so grateful for her picking this book for me to read, because this one I've been putting off. I think that's a theme in this video. I've been putting off all of these books, and thank you for other people choosing them for me, because I don't think I would have ever chosen this for myself. And I want to read it so bad, but I also am terrified of it because it's a little chunky, which I'm not. Well, let me not lie to myself. That is something that intimidates me and stops me from reading a book, because I'm like, oh, that's really chunky. That is one thing that like has put me off from this book. Not put me off, but I'm like, she's gonna take a lot of effort and time. I love it. I know I'm gonna love it. I just like, I'm scared of it. People either love or hate this book. A lot of people say it's too complicated, and then some people say no, it's not complicated at all, and you just have to put like the tiniest bit of effort in and it'll be like fine. And I have a very good, I think, ability to grasp a fantasy world. I'm very much like experienced in that. Fantasy was like my genre from the age of when I was born to the end of middle school, and then high school I kind of did my romance foray into the like rom-com world. So I feel like I have a pretty good ability to grasp a fantasy world. I really never have an issue with that. So I'm not terribly scared of that. I'm just kind of scared of like, what if I don't like it? And what if I'm the odd one out? And now that Laura recommended it to me, like I need to like it. I need to love it. And I thought I would, and I think I will, but I'm just scared now. So I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Laura, for choosing this for me. Like literally dream come true. With that very long-winded intro, I have 4 books to read in this video. We're going to start our first book today, and I think it's going to be Not Quite Dead Yet, because it's the one I'm least scared of reading, the most excited. Subscribe if you want before we continue. Let's go see what I think of all these books that the book girlies chose for me. I am 308 pages of the way through Not Quite Dead Yet, and I only have about 70 pages left to go. I'm really liking it. That's the first thing I have to say. It's so addicting. The pages go by so quickly. I'm liking our characters, kind of. I kind of don't love the FMC, and I kind of don't love the MMC, but they're like good. They're good enough for a thriller. What I'm feeling right now is this is a really good thriller because it's keeping me addicted. I want to know what happens. I've literally been reading all day, and I've read this entire book today, and I'm about to finish it. It's been not even 8 hours since I talked to you last. For a thriller, 5 stars is really difficult, because how are you gonna have 5 stars when you're not meant to connect to the characters in a way? But I feel like this is a thriller that I am the most connected to the characters that I've ever been. So it has potential, but it's hard because the thriller genre in general, like it's not like an I love the characters type of book. I'm gonna finish this book and I'll update you tomorrow morning on like my final thoughts. But bingeability so far, this is really good to binge, and I actually cannot wait to see what's gonna happen. I have theories, but also I don't think my theories are anywhere near right. I'm kind of just along for the ride. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's not my own theory, it's the FMC's theory. I'm just like, wait, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm just gonna read this in bed until I fall asleep and hopefully finish it. Okay, no judgment. My bed is not made like it usually is, but I did finish Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, and I'm actually so excited about it. Finished this book in one day. It was that bingeable. Like it actually was that bingeable. I was so obsessed. I needed to know what happened. The twist was pretty good. Like as far as a twist, like was it really out of nowhere? No. I guessed it at the very end, like when they started hinting, I was like, oh wait, I know what they're talking about. The thing about thrillers, I think, for me, is that there's never a connection to the characters. You don't really care what happens to them because it's really about the story and the twist. This thriller, I felt like we were so connected to the characters, and it made it uniquely that way because the fact that we knew our character was going to die at the end of this book. If you don't know the plot of this book, oh, my doggy is going to come and knock over my tripod. Come here, Knox. You want to say something? He just wanted to say hi. Leave it. Oh, we're backing up. We're backing out of here. Okay, I see. Anyways, our main character basically gets murdered, but she survives, but then is told she has 7 days to live before she actually dies because of the brain injury that she sustained. In these 7 days, she decides she's going to solve her own murder. And we're going through this knowing by the end that she's going to die. We cultivate relationships with her family, with her friends, all knowing that she's going to die at the very end. And so I feel like that is what really gets you connected to the characters is you know that she is going to, you know that she's going to die. And that means that it's going to be sad. You kind of know it's going to be sad. I didn't cry. I thought I might cry. I didn't cry. I think that in addition to the addictability, the bingeability, the plot twist that this book did well was the characters and the connections to the family and everyone in this book. You wanted to see them not even be okay, but you just wanted to understand the relationships between each of the characters. And I think that was a really big strength of this book. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Ashley, for suggesting it to me. I probably would have let this sit on my shelves for a long time if you hadn't told me to read it. So thank you so much, because I actually I knew I would like it, but I just wasn't really getting there to pick it up. And so I'm so excited that you suggested it to me. Sorry, my dog is messing around in the background. But I have to pick my next read. Debating between two. I'm thinking either My Friends, Fallen Gods. I kind of really want to read Fallen Gods. I think this is probably my next move, because I'm still a little bit scared of My Friends and I would like to put it off for as long as I can. And especially I want to be able to read it kind of in one sitting tomorrow. And today I won't be able to do that. So halfway through this one today, if I could possibly. By the way, this is where my puppy was sitting and watching me film. Isn't he the most adorable thing in the whole entire world? I ended last night on page 200 exactly, so a little bit over halfway through the book, just barely. And I want to go over my thoughts about this book because I have thoughts now that I'm halfway through. My thoughts are, I'm a little bit disappointed so far. The premise sounded so good, but it feels like we were just thrown into the story with no world building. We don't still really fully understand the world, even though our main character does. It would be different if our main character had no idea what was going on, but she is one of the only people who really know what's going on in this world. So I'm okay, but we don't know what's going on. Is that supposed to be intentional? I don't know, but at the moment it makes me not enjoy the book as much, because I'm I get kind of what you're saying, but you're also not explaining it to me. There has to be world building. You can't just throw fantasy terms at me and just expect me to understand, I think that's what's going on. It's not that I don't understand what's going on. It's more okay, but why is that happening? Why is that happening? You didn't give me any reason. You have powers. Why though? What does this have to do with who you are? Why are they there? Kind of. I just I know what's going on, but I just don't know the reason behind it. And I think that is really getting on my nerves. And then it just feels a little juvenile somehow. And this is an adult fantasy. And so I'm really wanting it to feel in the romance and in the world building that it is adult. The university setting is fun. It's kind of giving a little bit Zodiac Academy in the writing style. It feels very much this 2013 university setting, but also somehow this was written in 2025. It's just reminding me a lot of Zodiac Academy, but not because of any of the world building or anything, just the vibe of the academy and the people there and all that stuff. It reminds me of that vaguely, not copying or anything, just the vibe of it. It was written in 2025, so I'm how is this reminding me of the vibe of Zodiac Academy? I don't know what's going on. Also, two things mentioned in this fantasy book that I think should never be mentioned in a fantasy book ever: TikTok and a Stanley Cup. TikTok was briefly mentioned. It wasn't a super big deal. Honestly, the TikTok doesn't bother me all that much, but the Stanley Cup, I was hold on a minute. I don't know that a Stanley Cup needs to be mentioned in a fantasy. It is definitely it's an urban fantasy, so the real world phones, all that still exists. A Stanley Cup? I just don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. It kind of threw me off. I'm about to go read on the porch, and that's kind of all I'm gonna do for the rest of the day, so. I was just sitting here thinking, it feels like fall. I looked at the temperature. It's 88 degrees. 88. It's a little chilly with the wind. I love the South. Finished Fallen Gods by Rachel Van Dyke, and overall this book was kind of a disappointment, and I hate to say that because I really was so excited for it. I think it's partially my fault, because if I had gone in with the expectations that the writing was going to be slightly like Zodiac Academy, that it was going to be kind of a vibes based book and not to take it too seriously, I think that would have maybe been better. But with the cover and then with the interior art, I think I was just expecting it to be way more serious than it actually was, and therefore I kind of was expecting something different than I got, which is where I think I kind of maybe went wrong with my expectations, especially with Rachel Van Dyke's history with mafia romance. It could have been good if it was just that, but because it was set in a fantasy world and I think the world building wasn't the best, this world could have been really cool. I just wanted more information about that. Also, this entire plotline took place over 7 days total, and I was okay, I think we maybe needed more than 7 days, because it was really unbelievable for me, even with the second chance of it all, to pull for the romance or really believe in the romance it felt a little juvenile in that way, in the way that like, how are you gonna fall in love in 7 days kind of thing. I really was so excited for this one, and thank you so much, Leah, for choosing this one, because this is one of my most anticipated books on my physical TBR, because like I had never heard of it. The cover looked so good, the synopsis was so good, but it just like kind of fell flat, unfortunately. I think it was the lack of fantasy development of the world. I did not understand. I just wish that there was a why behind all of the world building stuff. We were told that she had these powers, people were drawn to her, or she could push people away, and just like it made her be able to kind of influence the emotions and feelings people had towards her. I'm like, that's great, amazing, love that idea. Why does she have those powers? And if it's part of the secret that we can't know, then I really want to know like the dynamic of like, why does she think she has these powers? It doesn't have to be truthful at first, but I just wanted a little bit of like, okay, like why does she think she has these powers? And then if the plot twist like means actually that it's something different, okay, that's fine. I just want to know where they came from, kind of thing. I think that's what makes a good fantasy book for me, is not only like the world is really cool, but I understand why the world works. I've actually started our next book, which is My Friends by Frederick Bachman, and I'm about halfway through this one, 225 pages in, if you can see my little bookmark right there. Really loving this book. I think what I love most about this book is 100% the writing. Frederick Bachman writes people and like describes and writes people in such a beautiful way, and this is my first Frederick Bachman book. I also learned that he doesn't write in English, he writes in Swedish ? Because in the beginning it says a novel by Frederick Bachman translated by Neil Smith, and I was like, translated from what? And then I googled it, and apparently he writes the book in Swedish. I found that interesting because like this is an amazing translation, amazing, like the way I feel so deeply about the words that he's saying, and it's not even in the original language. I'm awestruck, so much to the point where I've highlighted and underlined almost every single word in this book, and I kid you not, let me show you. I don't know if you can see, but practically this entire page is underlined, and that is how the entire book is. Like actually the entire book. I don't even know why, but just the way that he writes, it's so poetic, but it's not too much. Like it's so poetic in a short amount of words, which I really enjoy, because I want the writing to be poetic, but I don't want to feel like you're making an effort to be poetic in the way that there's so many words. So it just has to be poetic. I'm liking the characters so far. I don't know. I really don't know what it is about this book, but I'm loving it. Like absolutely loving it. I think I'm gonna try and finish this book tonight. And I kind of wish that I was able to savor it a little bit more. Like this is immediately already on my reread list, and I haven't even finished the entire book. I don't know if it's giving me 5-star feelings while I'm reading it. This might be one of those 5 stars where I like, after I finish the book, I sit on it for a few days and I'm like, wow, that one stuck with me, and then it's 5 stars. Today is Friday, and that means we have 2 more days left in this video, and I have something very exciting to report, that actually I did in fact finish My Friends by Frederick Bachman last night, basically in 24 hours. I did finish it a little bit past midnight, so like on my Fable it says that it took 3 days to finish it, because I read the first chapter the night before, and then I finished it at midnight last night. Thoughts wise, I don't know my rating yet, but what I have to say about it is this book made me feel so many things. I don't know that I like how this book makes me feel. I don't even know. It just put me in a really bad headspace. I had a hard time falling asleep. I was like overthinking. I was having a lot of anxious thoughts. I just don't know if I like where this book put me mentally. That being said, it's a very heartwarming story. It has a happy ending. There are sad things that happen throughout, but it's overwhelmingly like positive and a positive outlook on the world. I just don't know if like that is what lasted with me versus like the negative parts of the story really stuck with me the most. I don't know, the found family was really good. I think overall, like, I loved the characters. The story was very engaging. I had no problem binging this in one day. Don't know that it put me in the best headspace, which is very unfortunate to say about a book that like generally I really, really loved. Now we have to go on to our next and last book, which is When the Moon Hatched. I have this beautiful edition. That's just kind of a sneak peek of all the gorgeous illustrations in this edition. It's absolutely stunning. I would love to get the matching edition. I don't know if they're doing it. I don't know whose edition this is. I don't know, but if anybody knows what this edition is, like I just got it from Barnes & Noble, if they're doing an edition like this for The Ballad of Falling Dragons, let me know because I want one like this so bad and I might have to pre-order it. If I like the first book, obviously I need to read it and I'm going to start reading it in about half an hour. And I also recently watched another one of Laura's videos, who is the one wonderful booktuber who chose this for me. And she was talking about it, The Ballad of Fallen Dragons, in that video as well. I think it was her book club video. And I just really am so excited to read this book because a lot of the people that I like take a lot of my recommendations from and have a similar book taste to me really love this series. And so I'm very excited to read it. And I really think I'm going to love it. But I'm about to go to a coffee shop and sit and read this for however many hours it takes today until I have to go see the Odyssey later tonight. I really would love to get like a good 200 pages in. I don't know how many pages this is. Let me look. It's about 540 pages and I would love to get about 200 pages in today. Good morning. It's been a few days. It's actually Monday, so we're a little bit behind schedule in this video, but that's okay because I had work for like 10 hours Saturday, Sunday, so I really didn't have a lot of time to read, and that's okay. But I wanted to give you an update on When the Moon Hatched because I'm absolutely loving it. Like, absolutely addicted to this book. I think I have a new favorite book boyfriend. Like, no one freak out, but I think that I do. I'm about this far in. I just have like 200-ish pages left to go in this book. I'm 100% gonna finish it today because, like I said, I'm so addicted to this. I don't know how I'm not gonna be able to read Ballad of Fallen Dragons right after I finish this, but I have other things I have to do, so I can't read it like right after. About to go eat my breakfast and read this literally until I'm finished with it. Like, I cannot put it down. I had such a hard time putting it down last night to fall asleep. That's okay. I've literally bricked my phone today and I'm going to have it bricked for pretty much the entire day. I'm going to sit and read this book until I finish it with my phone bricked. So addicted to this book. Thank you so much, Laura, for forcing me to read it because it would have taken me so long to pick it up on my own because I was so intimidated by this. But honestly, the world is not all that confusing. It takes a little bit more brain power than like just a regular like romantasy pickup kind of, but it's really not all that bad. Like, I was scared for nothing. It kind of took me like 100 pages to get really comfortable with it. If you're scared to pick it up because you don't think you're going to understand it, I think you're going to be fine. Just pick it up. There's literally nothing all too confusing about this book. It just takes, like all other fantasy worlds, a few pages to get in. And by a few, I mean like 100, 150. But that's pretty like standard, I feel. So I'm really enjoying this. I love the dragons. I had predictions, but they already happened. So I'm like, what is going to happen in the end of, like, I have no idea what's going to happen at the end of this book. Last night I finished When the Moon Hatched. Wow. I think you saw part of my reaction. Thought I was gonna cry. I cried a little bit. It wasn't as sad as I thought it was gonna be, the ending, but it definitely was a plot twist. Like, I didn't really see it coming and I need the second book now. I think I'm gonna go buy it today, probably. And yeah, I really can't believe that. That was actually insane. That is When the Moon Hatched done. That means we have to wrap up our video, so we're gonna go over all the books I read this week and kind of what I'm thinking in terms of ratings. The first book was Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I think I'm gonna rate this one a 3.75. I don't normally do like 0.25 ratings, but I don't think this was quite a 4, and it definitely wasn't a 3.5. It was better than that. I think I'm gonna rate it a 3.75, which is a really good rating for me, especially for a thriller. Kept me interested. I wanted to find out what was gonna happen. I enjoyed the characters. I think something Holly Jackson does really well is having the characters be memorable, even though it's a thriller. Then I read Fallen Gods by Rachel Van Dyken, and this one was a lot bit of a disappointment. I think I'm gonna rate this a 2 stars. I was going in, I think, with different expectations than like the reality of this book, which I think didn't really help my case here, but it was a weird mix between like mafia romance and then like YA fiction. I feel like the romance was very underdeveloped. Then we finished My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I don't know what I want to rate this. I'm leaning towards like a 4. I thought it was a really good book, like compositionally. I don't like the feelings that it gave me. Like, it made me so depressed. It made me think so negatively. Like a book that can make me feel those things, but I don't want to carry it into my real life, if that makes sense. It's a fine line because I want a book to change my life. I want it to change the way I think. But if a book is changing the way I think so negatively that it like impacts my mood and it makes me like not want to do things, then that's like kind of depressive. And I don't think that was good. It wasn't good for my mental state. However, this was a really good book. So that's why I'm a little bit conflicted on my rating about this. And lastly, we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I think that this was probably my favorite book that I read in this video. I think I'm going to rate this a 4.5. It was so close to being 5. Like, I'm not kidding, so close. I think Ballad of Fallen Dragons, which I'm about to go pick up at the store after this, that could be a 5. Everything was there. There was literally nothing that I could pinpoint and be like, oh, I wish that was different. Like, nothing I could pinpoint. It was just a feeling. And if I think about this, it might take, because I finished this last night, it might take a few weeks for me to be like, wait a minute, I think that's 5 stars. With Blood of Hercules and Bonds of Hercules, I think I rated them both a 4 or 4.5. And then I was like, it's been like 2 weeks since I've read them, and I'm like, actually, no, that's a 5 star. That was 100% a 5 star. So it might just take me sitting on it for a little bit. I will get this video out before I've had time to sit on it like that. So right now I'm going to put it at a 4.5. But if you want to see if that changes, you can go follow my Fable down below because I always keep you updated on my ratings and reviews there. Anyways, that is all that I have for you today in terms of this video. If you like this video, let me know and I can do a second part. Let me know in the comments below who you think I should have pick my reads next. If you think like some booktubers, or if you guys want to pick my reads, like, let me know. And as always, subscribe to my channel if you like this video, if you're so inclined. Also check the message to the book besties down in the description as always, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.